everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last, sponsored by Wear Your Masks. I am Josh, and with me this week I've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is up, dogs?
Nothing much, my DiGiorno pal.
They're never going to sponsor us.
No.
That's usually your line, but you said it, so.
Well, I mean, even they can be our digital DiGiorno pals.
I like that.
So, that's how that works. How's everyone doing in this heat wave? It's definitely hot enough to kill some old people over here, I'd say.
Yeah. As if there aren't enough things coming for old people.
Ooh. Yeah.
In addition to Father Time himself.
Oh man. I feel like I've lost several pounds of just water weight.
Sweated them off, yeah. You'll put them back on in taco weight soon enough.
Ooh.
Oh, I want taco weight.
Could be so lucky.
Sounds delicious. We're starting the podcast right now, and I'll be honest, I haven't figured out what I'm going to eat for dinner yet. And I'm hungry, so all this food talk. We're watching MasterChef today. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, that'd be dope. The original.
I feel like it's what was it originally was it originally English, like Britain, UK MasterChef, or I just assume it's Gordon Ramsay
it was originally Japanese, I think.
Is that Iron Chef, or is that the same thing?
Or is it? No,
that was
Iron Chef and MasterChef are different. But
I'm thinking Iron Chef.
Yeah, well, Iron Chef's amazing.
Did you say man. Master Chief?
No. We're playing Halo tonight. It's going to be a 20-hour podcast. It's just going to live stream us playing and beating all of the first Halo game.
I'm down.
Joe, we have to come over. You're the only one that owns an Xbox.
I've never actually played. I've played some multiplayer Halo, but I've never played through a Halo game.
Oh man.
You have the system that's built off of Halo. You don't even have.
Nope. The one money maker.
Joe would disagree. That would be Madden, I don't know, 2008 or whatever he still has.
Yeah, whatever Maddens they were still making on the Xbox 360 when they had already moved on to the Xbox One.
They put those sports games on the old systems for a long time still, because I think it's fairly easy to do. And
that's the thing is so at the point that Xbox One comes out, they're developing new features and stuff for the Xbox One, and then every year for Xbox 360 they just put out the same game but with an updated roster.
Yeah. And they charge you $60 for it still.
So even if you're playing Madden 16, you're really playing Madden 11 but with just an updated roster.
Man, what a scam.
Yeah.
In the wrong business here.
I feel like most people know that, but then they're just well, I don't want to buy another one, a new Xbox. I'll just buy Madden 16 on my 360.
Mm-hmm.
If it brings you joy, then play the old version. Who cares?
True.
I'll be honest. This is not a video game podcast, but I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 3 recently, which is, I don't know. It stopped being relevant in 2014.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that one back?
Yeah, it's one back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one and a half back, basically, since PlayStation 5 is supposed to come out this fall.
Mm-hmm.
But quarantine's gotten me to play a lot of old games, and I'm having a great time.
Nice.
So there. Joe, this is not a video game podcast. This is a TV podcast called First and Last. What is this podcast that we do about?
We take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode, and people morph in between.
Sometimes they do. Oh man, I gotta take a break here and just say how horribly hot it is in this room. I'm dying.
I'm in a hot room too, but it's not Yeah, it's not as warm here. I haven't been outside today, but I have no
I'm
idea.
still a little warm from biking 12 miles in the
Yeah,
warmth.
it might be some of that.
Probably didn't help.
And I'm also for some reason, this room has like no circulation
Just
whatsoever.
no airflow.
Every other room in my apartment's like fine, but this room is wants to kill you from being so hot. Well, okay, so it was my TV show this week, and I figured it's been a long time, and no one else is gonna pick it, so I got to do it. We're gonna watch Power Rangers Time Force, which is the 9th in the series of Power Rangers.
Mhm.
They say
9,
that,
wow.
they say 9, but they include Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 1, 2, and 3. So it's technically the 9th season of Power Rangers, because they divided up. They divided up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers into 3 seasons, and then all the other iterations, Alien Rangers, Zeo, Turbo, etc. Those all have their own seasons. Well, actually, technically, Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers is technically season 3.5 according to them.
Oh my. Well, because wasn't that one short? It was like
a week. It was only like a week long.
2 weeks, I think. I think it's 10 episodes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That was a dope one. I remember that.
Yeah.
Some weird
good
Alien
time.
Ranger dudes.
time.
Well, this one is called Time Force. And I will tell you this. I don't know what happens in the first episode, but since I knew there was probably a couple 2-parters or something like that, I was looking up what we had. So the name of the first episode is called Force from the Future.
Okay.
I don't know.
Makes
I don't know if
sense.
there's any returning Power Rangers from what was the last one we watched? Lightspeed Rescue.
Lightspeed
It's still-
Rescue. Mhm.
Yeah, Time Force still sounds spacey to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
So-
Space time.
Yeah. If I run
Continuum.
down the names of the ones we've done so far, so we started with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers,
Yep.
then Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, then Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Turbo, Power Rangers in Space, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and then Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Yep. And that's where we left off.
So like, I feel like to this point it's been, basic Rangers, and then pretty quickly it went out into space, and it's been Space Rangers for a while.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the titles from like today's Time Force and like beyond that, and I feel like from here it really starts to like get real. like
Really
we've been doing
Yeah.
it's been like your typical like sci-fi space stuff, but then like today's Time Force, and then it's Wild Force, and then Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder.
Yeah. I'm waiting for
Dino
Dino
Thunder?
Thunder. Yeah.
Dino
I've been
Thunder.
waiting.
I mean, if
Power
you
Ranger-
do Power Month,
Power
That's
Rangers
number 4.
SPD. It's like Cop Rangers.
I think it's Cop Rangers. Yeah. I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Yeah.
And then Mystic Force, that's the one I'm waiting for. I want to know
Ooh.
what a Mystic Force is.
I like the sound of that.
But
Are you gonna just go through all 28 seasons right now? Because I'm just saying
yeah,
right
there
now.
really are 28, huh?
There's 3 different dinosaur-themed Power Rangers seasons, and I'm
There's
excited.
3?
No, it's 4. There's 4. There's so where Dino Thunder is the one
Dino
we'll get
Rangers?
to eventually. Then there's also Dino Charge. Then there's Dino Supercharge right after that.
Yeah.
And then the one that's I think currently on or maybe finished, it's called Dino Fury.
Yeah. So that's just to
Whoa.
say, if you've skipped the Rangers episodes till now, like now's probably a good time to start, because it seems like it's about to like get pretty crazy. Like we were in space, but now we're going in time.
Now it's time. So just only based on the title Force from the Future of this first episode, I have a theory that this whole series Time Force is essentially an elongated version of either Time Cop or Demolition Man. Those are like the same movies, right?
I feel like those hold the same space in my brain, but I don't really know the difference.
Right? Me too.
I don't know what the. I know I've seen Demolition Man, but I could not tell you the plot of it. That's the
Demolition
Wesley
Man,
Snipes, right?
Yeah, it's Stallone and Snipes. And then Time Cop is like
Like
I don't know
Van
who the
Damme?
good. Is it Van Damme and Dennis
it's gotta
Rodman?
be.
Oh.
Is it Rodman?
See, I was guessing Wesley Snipes again.
Same role, same character.
And I just
Maybe
like
it's-
mix it up.
Maybe I just made that up. I could have just made Dennis Rodman up, though. I'm not even kidding.
He's in stuff.
He's
I
in
feel like
something.
he was in a movie with Van Damme. I don't think
But
it was
it's-
Time Cop.
Okay, yeah, no, because this just says Ron Silver and Mia Sara.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. Ron Silver? That's Van Damme's name?
no, that's a real person's
That's a
name.
person's name.
It's an actor.
Yeah, that's the
I don't know which
actor
is
Ron
worse.
Silver.
I was just trying to envision Van Damme going by a character
You know what?
named Ron.
Maybe I've never seen Time Cop.
Maybe
I
you
don't
haven't.
think I have.
Only you know.
And I think I've
Do
only
love
like
the Van
kind
Damme.
of seen the Demolition.
I know
Man
this
or
is we're
whatever.
talking about Power Rangers, but I want to read you the first like sentence of the Time Cop plot. It says by 1994 time travel has been developed and it's used for illicit purposes. And so there's a time enforcement commission is established so that police can use time travel and like go back and stop time crimes. or
Time
something.
crimes. Or regular crimes just in the past.
Yeah, well those become time crimes.
So it's Minority Report.
Pre-crime.
Well, that's pre-crime, not time crime. There's a difference, Jimmy.
But if they're going back to stop crimes, they're going back to
Yeah.
stop pre-crime.
Oh yeah, I mean fair. But is there time travel in Demolition Man? Maybe there's not. Maybe I'm
Maybe
just
it's not. Maybe it's
taking
just in the
time.
future.
No idea.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just in the future. I think I'm taking
That's for
taking
sure.
like the plot of Demolition Man and assuming that they're traveling back in time and just then deciding that it's Time Cop. Either way, I think that this Power Rangers episode is somehow a mix between those two movies, and that's what this whole series of Power
Wesley
Rangers
Snipes is in it.
I just assume like some bad guy comes back back from the future
Uh-huh.
to where the normal teenagers are. They become Power Rangers because some other ranger from the future follows the bad guy back in time and then bestows probably time crystals to the other Power Rangers, and then that's how they become Power Rangers. So I'm thinking we start with 6 Rangers right off the bat.
Ooh. Okay. And one of them is for sure just still Tommy. Is
Wait,
it
what?
a green Time Ranger?
Oh, I mean,
Because
you
the
said-
original's 5, right? But then Tommy comes.
well, yeah. Tommy would be the 6th Ranger. Yeah.
I'm just assuming that this is written and directed by J.J. Abrams, and that that's where the time influences come from, and then that the 6th Ranger is just still Tommy, still rocking a ponytail. What year is this?
This show is 40 episodes long. It went from February 3rd to November 17th of 2011.
2011.
No, 2001. Sorry, way off. 10 years.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'm a decade off. 2001.
2001. Oh, he for sure still has a ponytail.
Yeah. Is Tommy in this? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's my prediction.
I mean, I'm into it. He could be. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Okay then.
Oh.
Maybe it's Tommy. Maybe it's past Tommy that future Rangers are going to.
You know, if they know what they're doing, they're gonna wrap in some sort of old Power Rangers.
You gotta have
in
at
here
least
at
the
some
White
point.
Ranger, right? You get the crazy dagger flute, the Ocarina of Time dagger.
I mean, White Ranger had it. Green Ranger had it.
It makes sense, right? They figure out that the Ocarina dagger is also just of time.
So yeah, they have. I don't know. Does anyone else think other things happen, or am I just like super straight, like you straight on? You know exactly. I nailed it.
Sounds about right. But another thought I had is like maybe the like force from the future is just like a Power Ranger who's like come back to warn them about things. like a bishop type character.
Oh yeah, like you must train. The Sentinels
Oh,
are
yeah.
coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know the name Apocalypse? I don't. Did Cable have anything to do with Apocalypse? Jimmy, you're our resident X-Men.
Absolutely. Cable is from the same time period.
Is that when Apocalypse killed all the X-Men, and that's why he came back?
Yeah, the thing about comics is that there's about 37 different plot lines.
Right,
redo
yeah.
everything.
A lot of different timelines.
But yeah, that like mid 90s like run, it was very Bishop and Cable heavy.
Yeah. When I'm referring to the X-Men, I'm almost always referring just explicitly to the 90s cartoon and not any comic or other form of media in reality.
Right.
I will specifically say the movies if I need to, but generally we don't talk about those that much.
We don't need to.
We don't need to talk about those.
Talk about those things.
Um,
Except Logan, that movie was dope.
Here's another question before we get into this first episode. What do they yell when they morph? Or also, are we going to see more? Are we going to see them morph? Are we going to see Zords? And if they do morph, what do they yell?
I think they yell, "It's morphin' time."
They ask the question.
It's time to morph.
I think they just yell, "It's time."
I think we see a morph.
I hope there's a stumble, like they're not really sure what to say. It's time to. We're morphing. Ah, crap.
Transform.
What year is it?
Where
Is that from
in
Jumanji?
time? God, what are they? What do they probably like yell something stupid like chronological morphing time.
Yeah. Chrono will for sure be said in this.
Probably. I don't think we're gonna see. I think they morph. I think we don't see any actual like real Zords. Because that seems to be a letdown that we need to keep getting for Joe. Joe always seems to be disappointed in the lack of Zords, and I think they're going to continue with that.
They got their formula.
I think the big bad is a giant clock.
Oh, like the Lord Zed's a big clock.
Yeah, it's time itself.
Like the dude
Literally,
from Beauty and the Beast.
I think they're going to call him Father Time. Is it going to be Father Time?
Yeah, they're going to call him Father Time, but he's going to look distinctly like Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast. Like just close enough that they can't get sued.
I love that.
Wait, is that Cogsworth?
Why does he got a candelabra friend?
I think right before they morph, they yell. I got it. Right before they morph, they yell, "Time is on our side," and then they morph.
Oh man.
What kind of? Okay, I got one more question before we go in. What's their like theme? I feel like I mean, maybe we don't get it until we get Zords more so now, but it's like they were all different dinosaurs or different animals and stuff like that. So are they going to have like a differentiated theme like that besides just like, colored rangers like that? Like Mesozoic period.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's like different like technology eras. So like
Ice Age, steampunk.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking, steampunk for sure. And then like something about information age. Someone's just good at the internet.
Industrial Revolution.
Oh man.
I'll be honest, I'm like stupid, but I'd be kind of in to see a steampunk and industrial revolution like a
working
together.
I don't know.
Yeah, those are the Rangers. They look just vastly different. It's just ridiculous. Man, it's too early. I think the Power Rangers are not even getting off the rails yet in the series that we're in. Like 20 more to go. So, all right. Well, let's just jump in it now. Let's get into this and watch Force from the Future, the first episodes of Power Rangers Time Force, and we'll see you in the future, listeners. And we're back from the first episode of Power Rangers Time Force, Force from the Future. We watched both of them because we're good boys.
I mean,
we wanted the whole story.
I mean, yeah, but we broke our own rule.
Yeah, but you're only 20 minutes apiece, so that was like 10 minutes more than watching like one regular episode of TV anyway. And Netflix just flows right into the second one for us. So
every first and laster, die hard right now. They've just realized they've been living a lie this whole time.
Yeah. Well, we're bad boys, and rules are meant to be broken.
I mean, because it was a part 1 and 2, but technically they were aired on different nights. So usually, I feel like it's more of a finale rule, though.
Well, it's just like you don't get the whole story, and when you watch like front to like the first episode, because then you just miss the second half. But on like the finale, you'll at least get previously on in general. So you're just filled in the first 2 minutes of the show. So you're like, oh, I already know what I know what happens now. Now on to the last part of the last episode. So it kind of worked out a little bit like that. So
yeah,
that's what we did. You got a write up, Jimmy?
I do. So this is Force from the Future Part 1 and 2, February 3rd and 10th of 2001. I was going to say 10,000. 1,000 years in the future. So the year 3000. A mutant criminal, Ransik, is captured and sentenced to be cryogenically frozen, but he manages to escape as he and his followers make their way to a time ship. Alex, the Red Time Force Ranger, tries to stop them, but Ransik kills him and escapes to the past. Alex dies in his fiancée Jen's arms, and she takes his red chronomorpher. Jen and a team of 3 others, Katie, Lucas, and Trip, grab some equipment and follow Ransik into the past. The 4 Rangers land in the city of Silver Hills in the year 2001, along with their chronomorphers. When they find Ransik,
and their robot buddy Circuit. As well.
Yeah, right. It's some sort of bird bot.
He's just a bird version of Alpha 5. That's all he is.
Owl, yeah. Owl 5. Do you get it?
Yes.
Do you see what I did?
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Owl. I had to make.
I'm going to say it until you guys laugh at it. Okay. So when they find Ransik, right, the Future Rangers find that they cannot morph because Alex's DNA was the key to unlocking the other 4 morphers. Sadly, the 4 can't find someone who shares Alex's DNA and start to give up until Trip finds someone who looks identical to Alex. This isn't exactly right. Jen
definitely saw him first.
Right.
Trip just had the idea. He's like, he looks like him. We could probably use him, right?
Was it even? I think it was Katie who said that.
Anyway, it might have been Katie. Yeah.
We're all over the place. Okay, Jen talks to him, but he refuses to believe that Jen is from the future and that he needs to take the red chronomorpher to help them all morph. Jen tries to find out his name, but he refuses to tell her. Then Jen, disappointed, walks back to the others who comment on her trying. This isn't. That's not what. Okay, I should have read this first because she run. They call her because Ransik and Cronoes are blowing up like the downtown, and so she takes off like on foot after them. Anyway, so then Ransik launches his first attack, but since the Rangers can't morph, they don't go until this is getting less. Someone who wrote this is getting more and more trashed as they wrote this.
We can just give up on this person's poor writing skills and basically go from here and explain it ourselves, I think.
Yeah. Wesley is the guy that looks like Alex. They start battling without their morphers. the Rancic and the nuts and bolts bots. I didn't catch
Were
their.
they called like? Did they call them psychobots? They called them something bots, and I was like, did you call them psychobots? But I haven't looked it up yet.
Putty bots.
Putty bots.
So Wes shows up, and then they're like, finally, and they throw the morpher on him, and then they all turn. They time morph. I didn't catch what they said.
It's time for Time Force.
That's what they said.
Time for Time
terrible.
Force. Yep.
Okay. So they morph. And then at the end, Jen swipes his morpher off of his wrist, and he's like, "Whatever, I don't care," and he leaves. And he's just like another rich white dude. But who's clearly got to be. They made a comment about how. So it has to be his DNA. So then they run into this guy, and he looks exactly like Jen's ex-fiance. Now dead 1,000 years later. And all is good. Other thoughts? I feel like a lot of other things happened.
So yeah, the long and short of it is they start out in the year 3001, and they're chasing down the last criminal back to 2001. That's something that they mentioned is like in the prologue screen that in the year 3001 they've eradicated crime, and all criminals are locked up except for this one guy, Rancic.
Wow, the last one.
Yeah, and then they do catch him, but then in being transported to time jail, he escapes.
Yeah.
And so they need to track him down in the year 2001. And then the weird thing that happens there is they have the morpher of one of their fellow rangers, but the only person that can activate it is someone who has the same DNA, so they just happen to run into a guy who looks exactly like him.
Lucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So that's gonna be a thing, where they're just dealing with a guy from 2001 who looks like their buddy. I mean, it's gonna turn out that he's his great 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 grandfather or something, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get jump all the way into predictions already, but Jen's totally gonna bone her ex-fiance's great 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 grandpa,
ancestor.
I mean, if we're not gonna jump into predictions right away, let's be honest. They go back in time right before Alex dies, and he's alive in the end. Come on, we know this already. He's not dead. We've seen Power Rangers
survived.
before. He's fine. But yeah, we'll get to that. I wrote, it's funny, on my piece of paper, I was writing characters, and I wrote Red Ranger - Alex, and then 5 minutes went by, and then I wrote dead.
I feel like it's the first time I've seen a ranger
die.
Completely die.
Well, because in the other episode,
in Lost Galaxy,
he is that the guy that got eaten up by the earth or whatever, and then he came back.
There's an earthquake, and he fell into the crevasse of the earthquake. But then he came back in the last episode.
Yeah, he was fine. He was totally fine. I felt So I mean, they chase him back in time. Oh, also just really quick, a really quick aside: the Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dennis Rodman movies called Double Team.
Double Team, of course.
Yep. And I feel like if you mix Double Team, Time Cop, and Demolition Man all into one with morphing, this is basically what this show is.
I will say this show did have very 80s vibes.
I feel like Power Rangers and Joe, I feel like you've commented on this in the past as we've been getting farther along, but sometimes because this is 2001, it's when people are trying to play with more computer stuff and graphics and whatnot, and I just feel like as it goes on, a lot of things kind of start looking worse. Original Power Rangers fight scenes looked better than almost every fight scene in this episode. One of them, I think one of the last fight scenes that they had, it was so blurry and I don't know, like 5 frames a second. It was so choppy and blurry all at the same time. I was like, I just see I see like colors, and I think I see like legs swinging, but it's not like you're really seeing like a fight scene. You know, when you watch like a newer movie sometimes, and their fight scenes are just like quick cuts, cut like that, and you're like, what's even happening? Like, I hear fighting noises. And
that's like all of the Bourne movies, like the just quick edit fighting.
Yeah, like shaky.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I want to watch you fight. I don't want to hear you fight while seeing frames of you fighting.
Like, you just couldn't possibly have any idea who's winning this fight, because you don't know who's actually kicking who.
Right.
At least these are colors, I guess. So.
Yeah, you know who's who, because you just see bright colors. So I was wrong. There's only 5 Rangers. They came back with 4, and they picked up their 5th one while they were there.
Yeah, I mean, technically, overall there was 6.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, technically I was right. There was 6. Just one of them died. I wrote down like the colors before, and I left green and black because it seems like that's kind of the interchangeable color these days. Is like, is it a Green Ranger or is it a Black Ranger?
Yeah, so Green Ranger was Trip, who's some sort of like alien thing who can.
He's got a crystal in his
read
forehead,
minds.
And he can read minds.
And he's got green hair.
Presumably, he can't read minds very reliably, though. Like,
Seems,
based on.
Yeah, because one of the other Rangers is like, why didn't you read his mind and see that he was going to escape? Which is a valid question.
Right? I thought you were a mind reader. Why didn't you do the thing you are?
This is the one reason you're on the team.
Yeah. So, I mean, let me walk you through what I think the best version of the show could be. And tell me, like, so basically right away, this is what I thought it was going to be until part 2 kind of ended, is I thought it was going to be Jen going back in time to catch Rancic in kind of like a time traveling tale of revenge, where she's going back to capture the man, or maybe even defeat and kill the person who killed her fiance and escaped to the past, you know, kind of like, and then that we were going to, for the first time, have a female-led power ranging team. Like, I thought, why wasn't she the Red Ranger? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, we just need another girl. We need a dude that looks exactly like the other dude. It's like,
yeah, just the most white bread dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was really disappointed.
That's a missed opportunity, yeah.
Well, I thought he gave her the Red Ranger morpher.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the Red Ranger. Dope.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen that before. We're 9 seasons into this thing.
But then how is she going to go back and find the guy who's going to dominate her?
Oh, God. So I wanted a tale of revenge with a female Power Ranger leader. That's what I thought this was going to be.
Yeah.
And it isn't really that.
I mean,
yeah,
kind of.
So in this first one, they jump back to 2001. Do you think that they jump like time more after that, or do you think they're in 2001 now for the rest of the season?
I think they're just in 2001.
I got predicts.
But I think that because they had their ship and they broke their ship.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what I thought.
I kind of think that too, and I think that is also a bummer. Like it's there's opportunity here for this to be like Quantum Leap, where they're just like hopping from different time eras and like chasing Rancic around. But if they're just going back to 2001, which is present day, then it's just another Power Rangers series.
Right. Well, it's not Power Rangers Time Travelers. It's Power Rangers Time Force, and Time Force is the time cop agency that they have.
Yeah.
And so they are the Time Force just in 2001.
Yeah.
They fulfilled the full title of the Power Rangers thing.
Yeah.
But it is a bummer because They could be fighting them in 2001, and then they could go to like 3 episodes. They could be in a pirate times, and then they could go to Egypt, with the pyramids.
They're pretty much asking for Turtles in Time.
I mean, my first thought is just being like practical and going, that would be probably too expensive.
Wait, but in Turtles in Time, didn't they just go to like the samurai times?
Oh, I'm talking about like
no, not the not the third movie, Jimmy. The Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
game.
The Super Nintendo game, Turtles in Time.
I got so good at that game when I was a kid that I could beat Turtles in Time in like 28 minutes. Like I could beat the whole game.
I didn't know you could beat that game.
Oh, you
or
can
any NES game.
Well, that one was a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
So
okay.
The NES Ninja Turtles game is hard as hell.
Super hard. Yeah. It's only like 5 levels, and it's unbeatable.
It's impossible. I don't think there's an end.
But yeah, when they started out in year 3001, I was like, all right, interesting, a world with no crime. And then we're immediately back in 2001, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and they could have went to the future, too. They could have went to, like, year 5000 or something and saw crazy stuff. It would have been cool. It was kind of funny. Like, I mean, obviously, we also have to take this into consideration that this is on Fox Kids. Like, it's on Fox after school. It's not... this isn't for adults like nitpicking this show.
Yeah.
But one thing Rancic said that was like, even when I was 10, I would have been like, you're an idiot. He was like, oh, good. We're in 2001. Time Force doesn't exist then. And I'm like, dude, Time Force in 3000 knows you traveled back in time. And they have time travel, which means they can just travel back. You're right. They don't exist right now. But that doesn't mean they can't come back to you.
Can we talk about the time travel technology for a second? Because at the beginning of this episode, Rancic and cronies are at some sort of Stargate to travel back in time.
And then traveling Stargate.
And then Red Time Ranger Alex is there with no other Rangers.
Well, because he's the only one that has... He's the only one that has a morpher for some reason. They have 4 other ones they just have locked up.
Yeah, they're just chilling. And he actually beats them.
You would think that himself. You would think if you were going to catch the last criminal on Earth, like or whatever, to stop all crime, you would send all 5 Rangers in if you had it.
Right. He walked in there and took them all down and arrested Rancic. And then they were going to miniature eyes chrono freeze the dude, which was weird. They just like shrunk them into action figures, which I guess makes sense. It just goes straight to the shelf at that point.
Well, I assume that part right there was how they're going to explain essentially how Rancic has monsters every week for them to fight. I bet he took like a duffel bag full of miniature frozen dudes back in time with him. And he's just going to take them out and defrost them and then send them off.
Just pop them in the microwave.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because like Rita would like make them out of clay. Her dude would make them out of clay. Mm-hmm. The robot people would just like make them. Guy?
How many ounces?
How much? You want to know how much Rancic weighs?
Yeah, when you hit the defrost, you got to tell it, how much frozen chicken breast is in there.
They just hit popcorn every time. It seems to work.
Yeah. If it's a little overdone, it'll be fine.
Yeah. No.
He smells a little funny, but that doesn't stop his murdering. You know.
Ah, man, I really like that idea that they just have like a hockey bag full of bad guys.
Yeah, and they found 2001. They're like, they got freezers in 2001. They just throw like a duffel bag full of action figures inside, and they're like, all right, we'll use them when we need them.
That's fun. So the 2 other baddies that they had with them that I guess weren't frozen, even though they said this was the last bad guy.
Yeah, they
was also
lied immediately.
His own daughter, Nadira.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got some kind of crazy, she's like pink hair. I don't know what her suit is. It's like a white, it's like a sexy stormtrooper. kind of
It's
vibe.
like someone in 2001 tried to go as a sexy stormtrooper with pink hair, and they kind of got it, but like kind of not.
And then they had some kind of, I don't know if he was some kind of like nuts and bolts bot.
I didn't catch what
Frax?
that thing's name was. What was his name?
Frax, I think. Frax. And
Okay.
then Gluto, who
That was the pig monster guy.
whatever he was, he looked like the grandma from Dinosaurs, but like with armor on.
Okay, I can flex with that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, that's their... So, like, Nadira is his Goldar. I assume the Frax robot guy is probably the... whoever the smart boy is from the original one that, like, made the clay monsters. I bet that's who that guy is. And then Guido, what's his name? Guidora.
It's racist.
The dinosaur grandma
Gluto?
guy. Gluto.
Gluto.
I assume that he's just like the buffoon bad guy, you know, like for some reason he's around all the time, but he always messes up. Probably
He's just a good hang. Like,
yeah.
he's like, oh, Gluto. Like,
Just a good time to have around.
yeah, he's fun. He makes some jokes sometimes.
He's like Rancic's like euchre partner. He's just really good at cards.
He's
so
like
it
an
keeps
old
him around.
college buddy, and he's just like, he doesn't really help out, but like, you known him a long time. You're gonna bring him with.
Yeah, I mean, it would be meaner to not, you know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It'll be awkward if we don't invite him. We'll just invite him.
He's in 2001. It'd be really weird if we didn't hang out with him.
You know what? I'll just send him a text when we get there.
Oh no! How many times have I been that guy?
I mean, all in all, I mean, hey, they're staying true to themselves. It's got the same Power Rangers cheese and charm. You know, I just kind of wish they'd figure out a better way to utilize technology. I just always, every time we get to a new Power Rangers, I'm like, this one's gonna look really good, and then remember when they were fighting on top of the tower right before Rancic killed Alex, and they were like standing on top of like a painting. It was like those two like really far up. It looked so bad.
Image, yep. But speaking of which, so Rancic, his like superpower, can we talk about that? He just like stomped his leg down and pulled a bone sword out of, he like hit his fist on his knee and pulled like his tibia sword out. and then that was just had some sort of power. He didn't actually wield it like a sword. It just shot things as Power Rangers does.
He can pull weapons out of his bones.
Yeah, he did it a couple other times. He had like a forearm blade that he pulled out, and then he also did like a spine sword or something.
Sword. Pull your own bones out.
So I mean, like he's like Bizarro Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
I guess.
What a terrible power. That seems. He did not. He did not sell it as if it hurt as much as I thought it hurt when he was doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he did kind of like stop and like he really presented that he was doing it. And like, if you were the Rangers, like how many times did they just sit and wait and watch for like,
they just want to see what comes out.
Like,
I mean,
we'll
most
just chill here.
He's like, oh, it's another sword. Yeah.
Most of Power Rangers is either the Power Rangers or the bad guy watching the other one like charge up.
There's no sense of urgency.
It's all turn based.
I did. Speaking of weapons, though, I actually did kind of like it when they were fighting in the last part, and the owl guy was like, "Don't forget your weapons, Power Rangers," and they were like, "Oh yeah," and then all of a sudden it cuts to like the Yellow Ranger, and she's got like a bazooka, and she's like shooting it.
Oh yeah, this.
That's right.
Oh yeah, I have a power bazooka.
That was definitely something I'm sure you could buy at Target for a good year.
Yeah, good call, Owly.
Oh. And then one other thing now that we're on hilarious things that I saw is when the Power Rangers are in the time ship about to launch off to go back in time. There was like a Megazord guy that was like hanging out in the future, and he just elongated his arm and then did like a golf swing and hit the ship back in time.
Yeah.
Like that's how they.
Oh yeah.
And it
'Cause
seems like that giant Zord is just walking around and like he didn't come out specifically to like launch them out. He was just sort of there and it was like,
Yeah, we
give
saw
you
him
a
earlier.
push.
Yeah. He just happens to be wandering the city, and then there's like, "Oh, are you going back in time? I'll help you." Because I feel like if he was like government controlled or something, they would have been like, "Hey, big time Zord, don't send them back, please."
Yeah.
Right. Can you just hold on to them?
Could you not? We're not. They shouldn't be doing what they're doing. And he was like, "Nah, I'm already swinging, bro. See you guys. Have a good vacation in 2001." So not a prediction, but we should get into predictions. But I want Circuit, the Owl Alpha 5, to be dead or gone, because I hate that thing.
Oh, Circuit.
It's kind of creepy, and I think it's somehow more annoying than Alpha was.
Oh man, I can't get over Alpha 5.
Alpha 5.
Alpha.
That's a better name than Circuit. I'll give it. Yeah. Should we get into predictions?
Sure.
Do it.
Cool. I guess I'll do mine. Well, I kind of said my first one at some point, but Alex is alive in the future. We find that out. That whatever they did, they changed it a little bit, and he's alive.
So
number 2,
you think that the Rangers will be back into the future and that they'll see Alex again?
Yeah. I think if anything, we'll be back in the future somehow by the end of this, and we'll see that Alex is not dead anymore.
I'm just envisioning this like she's like they get back in time like hand in hand, Jen and this new guy Wes, and then Alex is there, and it's just super awkward.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm into it. And that brings me to my second one, which is I think one of the Rangers decides to stay in 2001. At least one of them, but I think at least one of them stays. They're like, you know what? I like 2001. I'm going to stay. I think there is a group Power Ranger high five, which means, and by group I mean all 5 Rangers are high fiving.
Wow.
I will say, I will caveat, I think if there's a 6th Ranger, like it's a special gold or whatever, they don't have to be involved in the group high five for this to count. But at least 5 Rangers, 5 or more Rangers high five together.
That's a feat.
And then we haven't seen any Megazords, but I think one of them is a dinosaur.
Okay. I hope so.
Me too. And then not a prediction, but a wish. Alpha 5 is dead.
Wish death on him.
Aw.
Yes.
I could go. I've got that the final episode takes place in the year 4001.
Ooh.
I think they try to go back, but they overshoot and end up in 4001.
And then that's when the
like
show
it.
Sliders starts.
I don't know that reference.
I don't think they
Sci-fi.
They don't. Yeah, it's just a sci-fi show trying to get back home.
Okay. I think that they battle a giant clock.
Nice.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
They fight time itself. I think Alex and Jen get married like they had intended.
Ooh.
And then
I like that because it either means Josh is correct or they just came back before Alex died.
Yeah, could be either or.
But that means I'm correct either way. He's still alive. He's alive in the future.
Oh, but you
I
said that he
assume-
didn't die.
No,
That's not the
he's
same
dead
as not
He's
dying.
dead in their current timeline. I just think when it's all said and done and they go back into the future, he's alive. They
Yeah, he's
probably
cool.
just go back right before he dies and they save him. If the man's alive at any point in the future, I get the point.
Yeah, they're getting married. And then for the last one, I have that Bulk and Skull return.
I almost wrote that.
Dang, I did not even think of that.
I think they're back.
I almost wrote Vulcan Skull.
Hilarious.
I'm into it.
Man. I hope that they're inexplicably in the year 4000.
Yeah.
I hope they don't explain it.
They're not in 2001. They're not in 3000. They're in 4001 when they go there.
Yeah, wait. So how are they they're gonna overshoot and Alex is gonna be there? They're gonna pick him up on the way somehow on accident?
Yep.
To get okay.
It'll work itself out, Jimmy. Just watch the episode.
All right, you gotta cast a wide net. I get that. Okay, I have okay, I think someone at the end of this gets cryo frozen. I'm not gonna say who, because
Jen for her time crimes that she commits in 2001.
She does seem. I mean, she is. They're vigilantes at this point, so could happen. I think there's a callback to other Rangers, like maybe they run into. I suppose there aren't technically Rangers in 2001 because this is the show that they would be on, but maybe they there's somehow some sort of callback. I think at the end of the show they don't go forward, but they go further back. I'm anticipating when I hear like wild, what is it, wild force? That it's just they're like now just in Jurassic times. And then I think Alex is dead. And I think that Jennifer is just with the new guy now. I think she's just fallen for Wesley.
I mean, if I had my wish, Jennifer and Wes fall in love, then go back to the future, find out Alex is not dead because they fixed something, and then it's real weird. That would be mine.
If I had my real wish, she'd fall in love with Wesley like by the end of this, and then he proposes, and then he gets killed.
And then she goes back to the future. Alex is alive and acts like nothing ever happened. Like she never was messing around with his great-great-great-grandpa.
Except if she kills him in the past, there's no Alex.
Time paradox.
depending on the paradox.
Depending.
You subscribe
to. All right, so let's get into this last one. The last episodes are called The End of Time. So maybe we'll get some more time travel. Who knows? But let's get into this. We will see you after the finale of Power Rangers Time Force, The End of Time. And we are finished with the Power Rangers Time Force, the finale. We watched part 3. That was on November 17th, entitled The End of Time, part 3. Jimmy, you have a write-up for us. You said you were reading some of the other stuff as well for a little bit.
Yeah. So we watched part 3, and I read part 1 and 2 and 3, and it is wild. So what should I read?
Well, I mean, as far as like part 3 goes, it's pretty easily like we came in and like they had left. Like Wes was presumably still back in 2001 fighting Rancic and his like army alone. Mm-hmm. And then the other Power Rangers came back from the future and like saved him and stopped Rancic from being bad. And then they finally captured him, and that was the end of the show.
Yeah, because Rancic and Narita?
Yep.
What is it? Naruto?
No, it's not Naruto.
They just decide they're not bad anymore. And that's how this show ends.
Wait,
well,
like
they find a baby.
Yeah. They apparently had never seen a baby before. And now they're just good now.
I mean, at least during this episode, they were giving hints that like Nadira was kind of being like, we don't have to be like bad and mean anymore. Like we have more than enough. Like stop being greedy. Like let's just go live our lives somewhere. That's what she was kind of doing. And her and her dad Rancic was like, humans need to die. It seems like maybe he was like picked on as a kid for being a mutant, and so now he's like, humans are bullies, and now I have to kill them. Because bullies need to die.
And then he was like, wait, but they're little sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like, well, you've never seen a child before. Also, like, how did she get there? So it ended. So that part ended. It's like the Red Ranger Wes was like fighting all the bad people, and then all the other Rangers came in and helped, and they had Zords and stuff, and shooting and lasers and blah blah blah.
Yep.
Then like Rancic ran away, and Jen chased him into a building, and she like had a gun, and she was like, you need to go away, and she shot him. And like, I'll be honest, like when she was like screaming at him like, I have a mission, and it's like to get rid of you, and I was like, wow, this might be the best acting I've seen in a Power Rangers like right now. Like her this is it, you're done, like this I need to bring mission. You. She was still like, I need to capture you and bring you in. Not that she was going to like murder him. I still wanted that revenge plot that wasn't quite there. But she did just like shoot him with her handgun, laser gun or whatever. But then Nadira and the human baby, that, by the way, that she just like found and took. Like she just stole someone's baby.
I mean, it was in the middle of like the attack was going on, so maybe we didn't. There's some plot we didn't see that the parents were very clearly murdered and this baby was orphaned. I don't know. Who's to say?
We'll never find out. And then she was all of a sudden just like lying on the ground, like next to him, kind of like was she hiding under a box?
She got shot. She got shot by Rancic on accident, and I think that's what really led to his like turn. It's like, oh God, I love you so much.
I feel like somehow I blinked and missed that. I saw Jen shoot Rancic, I thought, and then the next time I opened my eyes, Nadira was on the ground with a baby.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
I think Jen shot Rancic and Rancic accidentally shot Nadira.
Okay. I thought for a second we were going to get heavy, and like Jen's lust for revenge made her then shoot a human baby. And I was like, damn, Power Rangers is getting heavy. That didn't happen.
I'm trying to think of anything else. So Wes is apparently armed now with some the quantum morpher. And they mentioned a person named Eric several times.
He was in the like
the previous
theme, the intro theme.
Oh yeah. So
he's one of the guys that turned around and faced the camera and was like, Eric.
Oh right. Yeah, and you're like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
So he's some sort of quantum ranger something, and his thing is the dino, the Quantum Rex.
There is a sixth ranger. We just never even saw him in this episode.
Yeah, the Q Rex. Okay. So I don't know what his deal is. But they had his stuff. It's literally called the Q Rex. So then, not to get into the predictions already, but Gluto, at the beginning of the episode, just runs away and cryo freezes himself. So that was a freebie point for me.
I thought he was like, I thought there was like a bad guy inside that bin, that like the little chrono like tube that he brought in, and I thought he was like trying to combine himself with somebody to like become like a mega monster. Yeah.
The secret
See
of
how
the ooze canister.
these things write themselves, and yet they can't quite get him, you know. But yeah, he just basically arrested himself and just put himself in time freeze.
He just gave up, and then Frax got beat, didn't he?
Yeah, he like exploded basically, and then that's when
That's when
Nadira
was
said
freaking
that
out.
he used to be human. So apparently that robot used to be a human at some point.
Yeah, that was kind of the start of her change.
Yeah, that was the start of her change, and then just Rancic probably just saying for the 100th time, I'm sure, during the thing, like, I hate humans, you know?
Yeah.
But getting it in there so the plot can change, so then he can love humans or be okay or something later. Yeah, I mean, they use the, so like that quantum T-Rex Zord was like freaking out, but they like tamed it somehow and like fixed that little part. They caught Rancic in the end, sent him back home, or arrested him, and then all the Power Rangers just like lined up on the beach with Wes, and they all just like took turns saying goodbye. Jen decided that she hasn't told Wes and now needed to tell him that she loves him, but then also still just left and went home.
Right. Yeah, so in the parts 1 and 2 that I read, they had gone back to the future because an apparent alive Alex told them that they had to come back to the future and leave Wes there. Otherwise, like, time is going to be effed up. And then they went, and then they were supposed to have their, like, minds erased so that they could, like, get back into their, like, lives previously.
Why do they have to forget the past that they lived?
Know. I just don't know. Somehow,
hey, but thanks for confirming Alex was alive for me. I appreciate that.
Well, so then they decide, nah, we're not going to have our minds erased, and we're going to go back and save Wes. And Jen gives back Alex her the engagement ring. And
shit.
And then goes back in time.
Because she's now in love with his great ancestor.
I guess it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's a weird element that she's in love with a guy that's essentially the ancestor, but 1,000 years in the past.
That she knows she can't like stay there or bring him with.
So
well,
it's like
it just doesn't
technically not wrong or anything, but it is weird.
It doesn't make sense, I guess, like narratively in the end, why then she decides to like go back into the future.
Mm-hmm.
She could have been like, no, and like ran away with him or something like that and stayed in the past.
I think it's like timeline stuff. Like she's not supposed to. It'll mess up.
But here's the deal though. If they're concerned with her staying back in time, and that would mess up the future, then they obviously needed to stay back in time at least for a little bit and like clean up that whole Rancic mess that was still happening, because that would have like completely changed the future. Yeah.
You would
so
think.
I was trying to think of like whether or not the future was like branching multiverse pathways instead of like one line. I'm just trying to figure out how they explained away that they could they could leave this guy running amok in the past and their future is still intact and fine.
Yeah.
Especially if they're saying they have to like wipe their memory, because those two things don't make sense together. But, a lot of time travel's hard to explain in most things, and a lot of people don't do time travel correctly or like logically maybe.
None of it really lines up. I don't think this was ever intended to be a time travel show. Like I was just reading over some of the descriptions for the episodes in the season, trying to see if they do like go back in time, but it seems like for the most part all the descriptions describe things in like late 20th century.
Okay.
There is one episode where they get transported to different dimensions that represent different movie genres.
Is that what the
Oh,
samurais?
Is that well? Yeah, because the intro showed like them as like in a
What?
Western type scenario, like they were
Yeah.
samurai and looked like they were possibly in like dinosaur age as
Mhm.
well at some point.
Yeah, so I think that was actually movie dimensions and not time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got excited to think that, Joe, you were right, and they might have actually traveled back and forth.
No, yeah, most of them are just like Steve's trying to get a driver's license, and like they're looking for like 21st century weapons that might help them. And then aliens attack the city. Like it's just like they're doing a normal thing, and then monsters attack the city. There is one though. Let me find it. It's episode 9. It's called Jen's Revenge. And all the other descriptions are like, a few sentences on like, this is going on, monsters attack the city. But this one just says, Jen tracks down fat catfish, the mutant she's encountered before. She wants to kill she wants to kill fat catfish for personal reasons. That's it.
That's it.
She's got a blood
Feud?
with fat catfish. She's hunted him through the years.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
also on that note, I did look up. It was official that she was the leader.
Okay.
The Pink Ranger was the leader. So it threw
That's
me
cool.
off because it's just like through 9 seasons, the only thing they've done that was basically consistent was the Red Ranger is the leader of the group.
Mhm.
Right.
I still think it's a little bit of a travesty then that they just didn't let her be the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. But
Well, I bet in like the Japanese whatever.
it's
like-
just because it was a dude.
Yeah.
And it just that's how they had to do it. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense, but it makes sense based on like the fact that they're using the Japanese footage stuff for it. But
Yeah. On
in-
that
in-
on that note, I read that like this is the first Rangers series that the like main villain wasn't taken from the original Japanese series.
Mm.
So like Rancic is a completely American creation.
Okay.
what
Interesting.
and what a bad guy he seems to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down who his name is. He's actually Australian.
Yeah.
His
Vernon
name is-
Wells?
Yeah,
Vernon
Vernon
Wells.
Wells. And he was in Mad Max 2, Road Warrior.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I read a good amount of his Wikipedia entry because it's pretty short. Probably my favorite part of it is in the early life section. It says, at the age of 14, he was part of a music band. Then upon graduating high school, went to university and attained a degree in telecommunications. Citation needed. Like, do you think that's something like, do you think he's just like editing his own Wikipedia page?
I mean, maybe he has like a teenager or something. That's good.
He's just like writing grandpa's Wikipedia. Oh,
His
grandpa said he
IMDb
was in a
is
music
pretty full.
band.
Music
He was,
band.
yeah, he's been in a lot of things.
Oh man, I want to just read a few of the things that are on his list here, his filmography.
Are they
He's
great
got a lot of
entries?
he's got a lot of good ones coming up. Okay, American Bigfoot is one that's apparently filming.
Well, Bigfoot is an American.
Giggles.
We got to stop for a second. Bigfoot's American. That's the American version is Bigfoot. Like
Right.
Bigfoot doesn't live in Russia.
Well,
like the Yeti lives in.
It might be an Australian-made film.
The Sasquatch lives in Australia.
A lot of zombie stuff. Zombies. It's just a Zombies 5.
I mean, I would be in some sort of shitty zombie, like 3rd-tier zombie movie if someone asks. So
Hell yeah! I hope that it's all part of a franchise. You know?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
He's in a TV movie called Cowboys versus Dinosaurs. I want to see that.
Hell yeah, that sounds awesome.
All right. Anyway, that's that. 100,000 zombie heads.
That's a movie?
That's a movie. 100,000.
Okay. I hope there's just a counter in the bottom right. Like,
Just like
He
one,
also did voices
2.
for Diablo 3. Yeah, there's this account.
So you're saying that Time Force is his peak?
he peaked.
Absolutely.
Peaked in time.
I mean,
Force.
after Mad Max, too.
I was also happy that, Jimmy, you think you said that, like, Wes had, like, some sort of quantum morpher, and I feel like that's how he got, like, special armor near the end.
Yeah.
He got, like, armor with flare. I'm telling you,
Oh,
like,
yeah. He looked like some sort of KFC ranger at the end there.
But I'm just saying, make Power Rangers ridiculous. Like, give every 10 episodes, I think a Power Ranger, like, they all should gain, like, some different power. You know? Like a new weapon, new power, give them another Zord, throw everything. Like, just, I mean, I know, like, right now they're kind of at least stuck with whatever the Japanese show is doing. I'm curious onto when maybe when American Power Rangers does its own stuff, or if that ever happens, you know? Is Power Rangers Dino War Thunder something, whatever's on, like, right now, is that still, like, Super Sentai stuff? Or is it actually, like, North American, like, no, we started making our own. We have our own Power Ranger people that jump around. I'm just,
Yeah, I don't
just
know.
like, not only is it, like, cool to see them continually change what they're using and whatever, but I'm just sure when you're, like, 9, you're like, Mom, buy me that one. That one has a bazooka. That one has wings now. That one has, like, a dinosaur that he rides on. That one has a car. Like, it's,
Yeah.
like, fun to watch, and I'm sure it's nothing but a moneymaker when it comes to toys. So
Yeah.
I think it's a
so
win-win
smart.
for everybody.
It's so
And
smart.
I thought,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I thought these Japanese shows were like, from like way before, and even in this one, like the like Japanese fighting parts, it looked kind of old, and I was just like, this has to be from like the 80s or something, right? But then when I looked up when it was from, or the show that it was based on, the Japanese show ran from like 2000 to 2001.
So it's pretty
mean,
fresh.
They were like, they were right on top of it. So.
Yeah.
Every week they're just okay, we aired it, now send the footage over.
Yeah.
And the next week they put a show together. That's wild. That's so quick. Also, it does not make any sense that the effects were still so bad by
real
this
bad.
finale.
I will say that in the Wikipedia here, it says that that Time Force was nominated for a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Sound Mixing.
Well, at least the sound got better.
I mean, there's one thing maybe about this show that is probably a negative, and you say sound, that I didn't notice as much in this tonight than I have in maybe previous Power Rangers episodes, is that normally the music is, like, banging, like, it's good. And maybe they just didn't turn it up as much as they normally do or something. But during their fight scenes and stuff, normally it's just, like, awesome, crazy music. But I didn't really notice that as much during this.
Yeah. Didn't hear a lot of new metal in the background
Yeah.
of this
Right?
one.
Really just the theme song, Time for Time Force.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's time for Time Force. Time Force Rangers.
Man. Yeah. Anything else?
I mean, not really. There was definitely parts of the show that I thought were, like, better than old Power Rangers, where, like, this last episode I thought was pretty good. Like, Jen, her acting went up a little bit, I think, when she was, like, confronting
Yeah.
Rancic. I thought that was way better, and I thought it was good. I wanted it to be like more adult, but that was just me. So obviously they had to make it a little bit more kiddie, where she just caught him or whatever, and then the bad guys had a turn of heart and blah blah blah. But I was like, this legitimately almost turned into like a good kid show that like adults could almost watch for a second. And then I'm like, I'm sure it's not the case for the other 38 episodes by any means, but
yeah, it was definitely different.
Yeah, it was different. I can see it growing. I mean, that's the thing is I can see Power Rangers like evolving a little bit, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Besides
watching Jen's revenge episode to find out who she murders,
yeah.
I'm not gonna watch any other part of the show. It's just fun watching these in this scenario in how we do it. But so maybe I'll go back to watch Jen's revenge, but. I'm good.
I hope we do
until the next one. Yeah, if I do, I'll let you guys know.
Is 40 some episodes or just 40?
40 exactly.
On the dot?
Yep.
But they go by so fast.
I mean, they're only 20 minutes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Be interested. I'd be more interested if Joe wouldn't have started by saying we have so many more to watch.
Well, we're on season 9 essentially, and there's 28. So,
like, it would be fun at some point to just sit down and watch all of every episode of Power Rangers, just for the lore,
Right. Power Rangers wait. That's a T. What? No. I was trying to figure out whether or not this is not the time for me to do internet research. I was just trying to say, do all the series of Power Rangers take footage from Super Sentai? From Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Hyperforce, which might be the newest one. When was this question asked? 2018. So.
Okay. So yes, is the answer.
They said Hyperforce is fully original. This is just some person on a forum said that though, so that could be completely wrong. So
Hyperforce is an interactive live stream tabletop role-playing game web series.
Oh,
and that's a lot of words, but
that was way too many words, Joe.
I guess it's a web series though, but it's a live streamed tabletop role-playing game.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm just trying to understand what that means.
My brain hurts.
That just brings me back to when Joe described like the Power Rangers like goodies versus baddies as like a turn based.
Yeah.
Which makes way too much sense. Like I just imagine like okay, baddie's doing something over there, like rolling the 20-sided die. What's going to happen?
There was a PlayStation 1 game for Power Rangers Time Force also, by the way.
PS1, nice.
Yeah. So, I bet I could dig that up somewhere. Check that out.
It was probably like a Game Boy Advance version. Is that out
Possibly.
yet?
Game Boy Color, actually. I just clicked on the box art.
Oh, wow.
All right, should we get into our predictions?
Yeah.
Do it.
I guess I'll do mine. My first one was Alex is alive in the future. Jimmy confirmed that for me.
Fine.
My second one is one of the Rangers stays in 2001. That was a missed opportunity for Jen.
Yeah.
So she did not. So no points for that. Nobody did. I said the group. There's a group Power Rangers High Five. There was not. I'm sad they didn't even decide to celebrate at all. That's a bummer. And my last real prediction was there's a dinosaur Megazord, and there is. It's the Q-Rex, which I was so happy. I assumed that they were. The reason why I said that was I assumed that they were going to all have essentially different Megazords from like different time periods, kind of thing. And I was like, well, one of them's got to be a dinosaur. And it seems like they have a spaceship and then a dinosaur, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that really worked out. So I got 2 points. My fifth non-prediction, but my wish was that Circuit was dead or gone, and unfortunately that little piece of owl shit was still alive and ticking in Trip's backpack.
Yeah, he just popped out of the backpack. Like, you can't get rid of me.
I'm terrible.
Wait, what was, Josh, what was your first point?
That Alex is alive.
Oh, yeah. All right, fine.
So I got 2.
All right.
I had that they're in the year 4001, which didn't seem to be the case. They battle a giant clock, which I didn't really see. Just a giant robot. I had Alex and Jen getting married. They did not. And Bulk and Skull coming back, which I didn't see either. So, no points.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bummer, Joe. I think you're in the lead this
Thanks,
year,
Joe.
right? This season. So you getting no points is good for me and Jimmy.
Okay, I had callback to other Rangers, and I don't think that was the case. I don't know that we've seen any Quantum Rangers in the past.
I didn't catch anything about that when I was watching.
That just brings me to the question, though. So, like, do we ever find out why dinosaurs are such a thing to the Power Rangers?
Besides the fact that they're just dope and everyone loves dinosaurs?
Right, yeah. Besides just the power of dopeness.
No, yeah, I think it's just marketing rules supreme, Jimmy, and dinosaurs are
like
awesome.
I saw like Red Dino T-Rex. I was like, oh, that's got to be a callback. But then it didn't really seem to be.
Yeah, it was almost like it's more like it said Q-Rex, but it really to me it felt more like a velociraptor, you know.
Sure. Okay, then I had someone gets cryo frozen, and that happened immediately, although it was kind of lame. Then I thought they were going further back in time. They did not. Pretty much stayed in their lane. And then I had number 4, Jennifer loves Wes.
That's confirmed. I can confirm. She said they said I love you to each other.
She literally said it.
Yeah.
So 2 points.
All right, 2. Good job. Cool. All right, well that's it. That's another Power Rangers in the bag. Hope you enjoyed it, listeners. I said that kind of threatening for some reason.
Better enjoy it.
You better have liked this.
For every 1-star review we get, we're gonna do another Rangers episode immediately.
I mean, I'm not against just piling a couple Rangers in a row here. We got a lot to go, you know.
Yeah.
And we can't quit making this podcast until we've done all the Power Rangers.
We're only 2 decades behind at this point.
Yeah, that's it. Cool. Well, that will do it for us this week. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you want to make show suggestions, like do another Power Rangers, for instance, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on the Gmails or on the Twitter. And let us know. Give us suggestions or, just yell at us through the ether that is the internet, because that's what it's here for. But that's about it. We will see you next week for another First and Last. Goodbye.